It's past time, John. Look, let's go back to work. Let's go back to school. Let's go back to normal, just like some of these other states are doing. You know, of course, Governor DeSantis, what he's done in Florida is the example that I think makes sense. Use common sense. The best stimulus package, instead of spending $1.9 trillion of taxpayer dollars adding to the debt, and most of that money doesn't even go for COVID, instead of doing these kind of things, the best stimulus is just to let people go back to work and run their lives and exercise the common sense that we all would exercise, knowing that this virus is real, this virus is serious, but it's way past time to get people back to work, back to school, and back to normal.
Yeah, we do see some of these businesses in in Texas and Mississippi saying they're going to keep their mask mandates in place, but maybe that's the best way to do it. Let the businesses decide what's best for them. What a novel idea, right?
Yeah, it's called freedom. It's called responsibility. I mean, Americans have common sense. Americans understand it. Let's let people run their lives. They'll do it in the right way. And if a business thinks that makes sense and that's what their customers want, God bless them. You know, that's the way to do it. So I think it makes all the sense in the world. I wish we'd be back to normal today, or frankly, you know, weeks ago. But let's hope it happens soon.
We're getting there, we hope. Anyway, let's talk about illegal immigration right now. More than 100 illegal immigrants released by Border Patrol in Texas since late January have tested positive for COVID-19. And White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked about this yesterday, and here's what she said.
As a part of our process, individuals who are adjudicated are tested for COVID-19 in partnership with state and local authorities.
No need to isolate to make sure that they don't.
Well, certainly isolation or isolating quarantining is a part of what our recommended health guidelines are, and certainly part of what happens at the border.
Let me just try to parse this, because she didn't answer the question. She says they test them. She didn't say anything about whether they release them or not. She mentioned something, you know, hinting at quarantining, but that's what's going on here. They may test them, but they're releasing them out into the wild. Yeah,
and you're an American citizen. You walk around Washington, D.C. Without a mask, you're going to get screamed at by a liberal. They're going to tell you you're killing grandma. But meanwhile, if you're an illegal, a migrant, unaccompanied migrant coming into the country with COVID, you know, God bless you. You just get to come right in. So this is the kind of ridiculous stuff that drives Americans crazy. And it's this double standard the Democrats have. It's frustrating for Americans, and I understand. You know, but the Biden administration in 40-some days is undoing all the good policies that President Trump put in place to secure our border. And that's really frustrating for the American people.
You think for their own sake, for the sake of argument, they would want to find something to appease Republicans, say, look, we found this actually worked, we're going to keep that in place. But no, they are so, determined to just undo whatever President Trump did, whether it worked or not.
Yeah, and it's all about power. I mean, no common sense, no wanting to work with Republicans on any policy. I mean, in the next 2 weeks, last night they passed, the Democrats radically changed election law, radically changed police law. Next week, they're going to radically change gun laws in this country. And then after that, they're going to follow up with more radical changes to immigration law, all in 2.5 weeks time period. That's how out of touch they are with the American people, and what common sense the policies the American people want. Our job as Republicans is to push back against it, highlight how crazy it is, and hope we can slow them down and ultimately stop them from doing some of these harmful public policies.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about H.R. 1. It's now going over to the Senate, and some Democrats have suggested a compromise or a carve-out for voting rights issues. But Georgia Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock told a reporter this week, quote, I think that the issues are urgent enough to leave all options on the table. What do you think he means by that?
I assume he's talking about the filibuster option to pass this terrible bill. We'll have to see. But here's a good question, John. Which is it? You know, the Democrats have told us for 3 months that the November 3rd election was flawless. It was perfect. There were no problems, no irregularities, no concerns. But now they got an 800-page election law bill that they got to pass. So was it a perfect election, or do we need it? The truth is, we know what this is about. This is about codifying and federalizing the changes made in some of those key battleground states like Pennsylvania and Arizona and others. It's about making sure those changes that were done in unconstitutional fashion, it's about making those apply to all the states, federalizing election law. And when they're done with it, they want taxpayers to pay for elections. So think about that. The same people who getting ready to pass a $2 trillion spending package, those same individuals now want you to pay for their reelection, just what our voters in the 4th District of Ohio want. They don't, you know,
Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever. I'm yet to meet somebody on one side of the country that wants to pay for an election on the other side of the country that they really have nothing to do with. This is nuts.
Of course. Of course. The voters I represent don't want to pay for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's reelection. Most of them don't want to pay for mine either. That's something we're supposed to do. Go raise the money and run for office. So it's ridiculous where they're going, but it's also dangerous. And you couple all this with their cancel culture mindset, and they're attacking your network and others and attacking just the ability to exercise your First Amendment free speech rights. It's really frightening where they want to take the